I don't think I can make positive music. That's why I call it negative music, because I don't see a middle ground. So the lyrics are either really fucking hateful or spiteful. Hate yourself, do you know what it is to hate yourself? Honestly, I betray myself. Honestly, I just wanna break myself. Break myself. Hate yourself, do you know what it is to hate yourself? Honestly, I betray myself.
When did you start making music, in fact, and why? What sort of pushed you to do that?
So I started making music about 2017. It originally started, so I had this teacher basically at school. I didn't really do well at school. I know this is like a really cliche fucking story that every fucking artist says, and it's cringe, and I admit it's cringe. But I didn't do well at school, but there was one teacher that liked me. His name was Mr. Almond, and he was my English teacher. And I remember we had a poetry exam, so it wasn't like reading poetry, it was like writing poetry, and he said like, you actually did really well on that one, and it surprised him because I'm shit. And he basically said that you need to do something with it. So it originally started just like writing and just like doing shitty 4-line rhyming schemes and that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to put it on a beat. So I originally started like remixing lo-fi songs and jumping on that kind of stuff in like 2017. But there was loads of stuff that came out before that I can mention. Like I think my first song was 2017. I think that's still up. But at the moment on Spotify it says like 2019. That's not the case. There were songs before that, I just deleted them. Like I completely grew out of it. So in terms of like properly starting, I'd say 2019. But there were like drafts, I guess, like SoundCloud drops and that kind of stuff in 2017, 2018.
Like what did you start with, in fact? Like what equipment were you using when you started recording?
So I'm trying to think. I had a blue snowball mic, I know that. And I bought this really shit map off Depop. I remember it was Depop because I was like, fuck, it ain't gonna turn up. But it was like, they added like a 16GB RAM to this like 2008 MacBook. It was awful. And I ran that on Audacity, and I can actually show you. In that cupboard, that's where I used to sit. In that tiny little hobbit hole, like the little Harry Potter hole that I've got in the corner now. I used to sit in there. I had like LEDs and shit up. But yeah, that's where I recorded originally. But Audacity is shit. If you're starting out, don't fucking use it. It's fucking awful. Just shell out the 200 quid and get Logic or something.
How long were you using that bedroom studio for then?
I used that for 2 years, and in 2019 I got a Rode NT1. I got that for my birthday. I remember I got like the whole setup, like, you know, you can get that box where it comes with like the boom arm and stuff like that. And then I moved over into another corner of my room, and now I'm in this corner. It's fucking messy. I got backy all over the desk, but but yeah, I keep moving about. It's like every year I'm moving to a different side of my room with better equipment. Yeah, I stopped using that 2019, but that's when I started going to college, so I was seeing like actual better equipment. But the new mic that I've got now, that's the kind of shit that I actually saved up for now that I've got a job and stuff like that. So I've got the Shure SM7B at the moment. Wait, actually I can move it.
Yeah, shit, equipment specs. when you'd start making music, or perhaps prior to the fact, perhaps what artists or genres of music perhaps would you say have sort of inspired you, like perhaps either prior or during your current work?
I'd say originally it was XXXTentacion, just because of the whole SoundCloud wave and that kind of stuff. I like a lot of rock and metal, so that was originally the kind of shit I'd listened to. So there was 3 Days Grace, which is my favourite band, Slipknot, but I also listened to shit like drill, I listened to Chief Keef. But that's the kind of shit that I listen to personally, and that's like the main inspirations. I think that's why I try and do as many different kind of genres as I can, because it's not just a case of there's one artist that I really like that did one specific genre. It's not like I'm going like, oh, I really like Juice WRLD and just jumping on emo beats every time. I think because of the music that I've personally grown up with, like I grew up when I was like 15, 16 listening to like grime, for instance, like the whole Bugsy Malone and Chipmunk beef and that kind of shit. I think I make music around what I'm listening to at the time. So I was listening to a lot of Hyperpop in 2021, for example. So that inspired me to make shit like that. And now I think recently I've listened to a lot of Slaves and Idols and that kind of stuff.
The people are freezing and the water is warm and the ice caps.
Yeah, I was going to say, in fact, because I had noticed looking at your catalogue, you have shown like a wide array of different genres. So with that, is that just purely because of what you've been listening to at the time, perhaps? Perhaps it's just been shifting progressively?
Yeah, I'd say it's a mix of what I'm listening to at the time, and also I just like to experiment as well. Like, there's been so many artists Like, this isn't me calling anyone out either before my friends watch this and they're like, oh, he's talking about me. And if you do think I'm talking about you, then I probably am. But, nah, I'm fucking with you, But, no, there's so many artists that I listen to and I was like, oh, they're really, really good. For example, like, I like his music, but like DaBaby, for example, but like the first few songs come out and it's like, oh, this is hard, what's he gonna do next? And it's just the same shit every time. And it's like, I really don't want to be that. Like, I want each song to come out and people going like, I don't even know what genre this is gonna be, if you know what I mean. I like the element of like, I'm not going to tell you what genre the song is till it's out, but which is difficult because it means that the fan base ain't going to fuck with every song I drop, and I know that. I 100% appreciate that as well. But it just makes it funner for me, I think, being like, okay, I did something new, I feel like I've achieved something, instead of just going online and going on like free for profit Lil Baby type beat, for example. Like that, it's not entertaining for me. I have to kind of feel like I'm properly doing something, not innovating. Like, I know I'm not doing something completely new, but it's completely new for me. I think that's the main reason personally, and the inspirations as well. It's just what I'm listening to at the time. If I want to like try and recreate something, then I will try put my own spin on it.
Something I did definitely pick up on whilst I was looking through your Instagram as well as your Spotify, you heavily, you also mentioned this on your story, in fact, recently, you heavily reference the Fable video game series. You've got a whole project named after the antagonist Jack of Blades.
After an eternity away from you all, Jack of Blades is back.
I'm so glad you picked that up.
Yeah. Would you say the Fable series, or maybe video games in general, have some sort of an inspiration to you? Like, be it aesthetically or perhaps to do with your music?
100%. The next album that I'm dropping, and everyone knows the name of it, but they don't know what it's about. So the next album's called The Outsider, and I don't know if you've played Dishonored before.
Hello, Corvo. Your life has taken a turn, has it not?
You know who The Outsider is then. That's what this next one's based off. Basically, for albums, most of the time, I'll just do like a storyline in my own. Like, I'll try and make up a storyline. But if I do an EP, I try and base it off like a game that I enjoy or a game that I'm playing, for example. So there was going to be another one that was going to be something to do with like Borderlands or something like that. I think that just makes it funner for me to have like an aesthetic for each kind of project. So as you saw the Jack of Blades one, for example, I got that mask up there and the scarf. As you know, Jack of Blades has like the fucking... I tried to recreate it pretty much, but not 100%. I tried to put my own spin on it. I don't know, the music has nothing to do with the game at all. I think it's just for my own amusement, being like, okay, this is something I enjoy. Let me put this in with something that it wouldn't usually be with. No, I'm actually really happy you picked that up because no one ever picks it up unless I post like a snippet with the Fable game.
Why would you particularly call it negative music?
I don't think I can make happy songs. That's the only thing I don't think I can do. I think I can make, not any genre. I can admit I can't make like fucking country, but I could. I don't know. I don't think I can make positive music. That's why I call it negative music, because I don't see a middle ground. I'm either really negative or really positive. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I feel like personally I haven't dropped a song where it's like a positive message. But I think that's what I like, is not having a filter on the negative side of shit. There's a lot of people where it's like, for instance, there's pop music like Meghan Trainor and fucking, I don't know, Youngblood, for example, even. I hate that shit so much. Where it's like, just speak about real shit, like stop acting like so many things are positive right now. People don't want to hear that. Like, it's just not what people want. I want to make shit that people either sit and cry over or swing fists in a mosh pit over, because that's why I enjoy it. I want to see like pure chaos over it. I don't want to see people fucking clapping their hands in H&M, do you know what I mean? It doesn't interest me. So that's why I'd say it's negative music.
I did certainly notice a contrast in that, especially with... Because I think your earlier stuff is more sort of, like, it's a lot sadder, but the more recent stuff is more sort of related to trap metal or punk, in a sense. It's more angry.
Yeah.
Like you said, obviously. Like Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, for example.
Every party I ignore, cause while your nans on life support their partying, cause they can't call it quits. I thought we're meant to distance, there's a reason we ain't listen, cause my hand comes cheating with another bitch.
That has been more of a political piece for you, perhaps, in a sense?
Yeah.
Like, what had inspired that? Exactly, and I know it's going to sound really stupid to ask, but what made you decide to sort of make a sort of change musically for that?
I think it's just after a while, and it's going to sound cringe in itself, I think after a while when you've been sad for so long, that sadness just turns into something else. Like, it goes from sad to numb, and then you get angry because you're numb. And that sounds like some bullshit quote that's gonna have like sad fucking music over it on TikTok. But no, that's genuinely what happened. Like, I was sad for a long time, and it turned into numbness, and because I couldn't really feel anything, it just made me angry. It made me angry at the world. Like, not one thing. It was just like everything was negative. Even if something positive happened, I was always looking for the negative in it. And it's just, I don't like songs where the meaning is hidden. I like putting it out there. Like, for instance, in Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, it's not like Idols, for example, where they choose a side, where they say like, I'm lefty, I'm soft, da 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 da. I'd say straight up, I don't care who you voted for, death to order run. I think it's good to be blunt and honest with it. The same way I come into the song with like, fuck your politics. Like, I don't agree with trying to sugarcoat things. That's the one thing I hate. I don't like having to have a filter, if you know what I mean. I think that's what the music industry needs more of, is I don't want to appeal to like one crowd or one certain crowd. It's mixed with the fact that I started doing shows as well, and obviously the sad shit just doesn't go down well live. But it's just whatever I'm feeling at the time. If someone throws on a beat, then I'll make a song to it. I don't have to be in a certain headspace. It's just the first lyrics that come to my head, like Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, I didn't write down. I was punching in lines, like the first one, fuck your politics, bang, second one, bang, third one, bang, fourth one. I don't write music down. I just say whatever's on my mind and get it over with.
When did you start recently doing shows? Was it just this year gone, or just this year?
So I started doing shows at college at the Hunter Club in Bury St Edmunds, but that was more like band stuff. So I wasn't really doing the solo stuff as much then. But I did my first show in Brighton with Skeleton Boy in January at the Bee's Mouth, and that was like a basement kind of show. There was no stage, there was no barricade. There was probably like 30, 40 people packed into this tiny basement room, probably about the size of like a bedroom. And that was still my favourite venue, I can't lie, because it was personal. And then there was another one, I can't even remember, because I think I've had 2 headlines in 1 month now. Let me think. There was one in Pipeline, Brighton, which was good, and then there was one at Dublin's Castle in Camden. So right now I've done 3 headlines, but every single time I've done them with Skeleton Boy, because it's just, I enjoy it more. Like, I've had people say like, oh, if you did a headline by yourself, you'd have more focus on you. But the thing is, I don't enjoy doing it by myself. Like, it's nice to have someone else there and it be more of an experience or like a memory between you, do you know what I mean? Like, I live in the middle of fuck all nowhere. Like, you know what it's like living down here compared to somewhere like London, where it's like I have no music people here. So when I'm down there, I want to spend time with as many people as I can and kind of create memories with people, because I don't make music with anyone. There is no collaboration on my side anyway. If I'm making a song, it's all me and that's it. I definitely started this year. Like, I have done shows in the past, but in terms of like actually getting it rolling and like emailing venues and stuff like that, yeah, it's this year. But I think it's mainly I didn't feel ready before. Like, I didn't have the catalogue to kind of go out there and perform a full 45-minute set. And I still don't think I do, which is why I still do the half and half sets with Skeleton Boy. But when I'm ready, it'll happen, 100%. And it will definitely happen this year.
See, when do you think we could expect that, perhaps?
I'm definitely, well, I'm not going to say definitely, because it could always go back. But there's definitely one in Cambridge coming in around summertime, like July, August time. There'll be one in Bury St Edmunds around August, summertime. And I think there's one in Norwich. Don't quote me on that, because I'm not sure. I'm in talks with them now, but there should be one in Norwich, I'm hoping. But at the moment, there's another 2, and there might be another one in Brighton in this month, actually. Fuck, I forgot about that. There could be another one in Brighton, let's say.
Through Skeleton Boy, I'm assuming, perhaps. How about did you come to getting your connections with Hellbound? Because Hellbound they're an up-and-coming alternative collective, sort of in regards to sort of alt-rap or alt-trap metal.
So I originally became friends with Skeleton Boy. His real name's Logan. I'll call him Logan because it just feels weird fucking saying artist names when you've been friends with them for years. But I wasn't friends with Logan originally. He was in another group called Rug, and a bunch of bullshit went down with them. And there was like a little beef between me and them, where I, as I said, didn't have a filter and just talked shit. And we didn't get along, but then we came to like a mutual agreement and started speaking. So it started off with like, it wasn't pure hatred, but you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a nice way to be introduced. But yeah, I was friends with him for about a year, 2 years, and then he went to uni in Brighton, and he got into Hellbound with them guys. But then I met them January during the show, and that's when I fully kind of got connected. So I've started making music with them as well. and I'll be at every Hellbound show most of the time anyway, because me and Skeleton Boy do have a lot of songs together.
I think that might also perhaps line up, because I remember I also saw you had recently made remarks about wanting to move to Brighton. I was going to ask, why is that in particular?
I think it's just living in the middle of the countryside is really shit when you're trying to not only collaborate but perform as well. It's fine traveling. I don't mind traveling. Like, I have a job at the moment where I work from home, so it's really not a big deal. I can work while I'm in Brighton, but it's the atmosphere. Like, I don't like being in cities. Like London I couldn't do, it's too much, but I think Brighton's just the right size where it feels like a city, but without like that kind of city anxiety you get, if you know what I mean.
The overwhelmingness.
Whereas like there's everything going on. Yeah, definitely. It feels like a city atmosphere wise, but it's not overwhelming. Yeah, I think that's the main reason, and just all my friends there at the moment. Like, everyone that I've linked up with in music is either in London or Brighton, and Brighton's close enough to London anyway. Yeah, I think it's just as well, there's nothing really keeping me where I'm at now in like Suffolk kind of ways. There's nothing here except from maybe like my friends in Bury St Edmunds who perform at Hunter Club, but even then I could travel back down, it's not a big deal. But Brighton is definitely where I feel the most happiest. Yeah.
Do you currently have any future releases planned? Any projects, singles, collabs?
So as I said, the Outsider will be out. I'm hoping for summer. I'm waiting on one feature right now. Once that feature's in, it's on go mode. Like, I can put it through, it's out. But it's not out, but you know what I mean, I can start the promotional material. I have a joint EP with Skeleton Boy coming out called Ripper Boy. I don't know, because he takes fucking ages. I'm not gonna lie to you, he's fucking long. Like, he just takes his time at the moment, which is fair. But like, he's got all the songs. I've sent over a bunch of choruses and verses. It's completely up to him when that comes out. So if you want that one, don't fucking bother him. Don't jump in my DMs for it. But they're the only two at the moment. I'm thinking about doing a grunge EP next, because I've got a grunge song on the album that's coming out, and I like the sound of it, so I think I'm going to do a whole EP of that kind of stuff called The Body That Sleeps on Your Floor.
Final question that I have, if I can't think of any follow-ups, is I typically ask this of all my interviewees at the very end.
Yeah.
If you could give everybody in the world one piece of advice, what would it be?
One piece of advice: make sure you know who your real friends are. Like, make sure, especially if you're doing music or in some kind of industry, you need to be able to point out who's using you for an opportunity and who's using you for friendship. So actually make sure you look out for the people that are checking up on you daily, and who's checking up on you when you just post a song, or when you get noticed by someone big, or when there's something they can gain from it. I say that's the main thing. I've realised that myself as well.
I don't have my knife, it shows I swing it back and forth. Now I heard the pussy talking, put the barrel to